Hello again. Today I'm in a Porsche 991 Gen 1 and we're going to be installing Apple CarPlay to a factory head unit. A lot of the 991 Gen 2s had CarPlay as standard, but you had to plug a wire into the armrest. If you want wireless or if you want Andriod Auto at all, you're going to need an aftermarket kit like this fitted inside the factory head unit, or of course you could do an aftermarket head unit. So let me just spin this around and show you what I'm looking at. So this is the factory 991 head unit. You can replace the fascia, put in something like the Sony XAV6050 or the Pioneer DA77. They work really well. They give you wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Andriod Auto, nice high-res touchscreen. But for those that want to retain all of the use of the kind of factory buttons, the factory menu system and everything, you can actually fit a module inside of these that gives you CarPlay. You still get touchscreen and you just press and hold on the buttons to switch between the factory system and the CarPlay system. You can also fit this on 997 Gen 2s. The screen quality isn't as good because you're kind of stuck with the resolution of those earlier screens. But again, if you want that functionality without having to completely change the look of the car, then that can be done. So it's going to be a short video. I'm going to whip this out. I'll show it to you on the bench, show you how we do it quickly, and then run through the functionality of it when it's installed in the car. Right, back in the nice warm room, and head unit's out the car. This is the kit that I use. It's from Andriod Automotive. They're a company in the UK. They're assembled in the UK, and they're good guys to talk to and deal with. On some cars, you need to fit this module that then you use the loom that comes with the kit. It's all plug and play, and you can do it at home if you're kind of happy enough to get all the head unit out of the car yourself. You can use that loom to piggyback off the back of the head unit and install that box somewhere behind the dash. We're not doing that in this car. That's for a car that I've got in later next week. In this car, if this box opens, there we go. Let me just move that so I don't get confused. This one, with the Porsche head units, you don't have an external box. You have this circuit board that you need to install inside the head unit. So basically this is I guess the same kind of circuit board and the same technology that's in that external box, but you put it inside the head unit. So it's a little bit more, tiny bit more complicated, but it actually ends up with a need to install because you don't need to hide that auxiliary box. So I'm going to pop this apart now. It should take me, I don't know, maybe an hour or so to get it in, get all the wires routed properly, and then I'll show you it back in the car. And this is the point where probably most of you think, this isn't a DIY, do it at home job. Yeah, it looks a little bit daunting. That's the main motherboard and brains of the head unit. That's the CD changer part or CD player that you flip off the top. And then that's the screen that you have to disconnect to get the whole thing apart. This is the new circuit board. So this is going to get installed in here. This will give the unit CarPlay. And we just need to switch some of these ribbon cables around so that it can jump from the old head unit to the new head unit. Interestingly, this is then the most fiber optic cables that come straight off the kind of the amplifier, the head unit board, that then give you the most fiber optic output when you've got a Bose car. I may as well just show you each step of the journey. That's the new CarPlay board in. It comes with these, I should have taken pictures of them, but these little brass standoffs so you can space the circuit board up off the other one. You just then have to reroute the ribbon cables. So the ribbon cable from the original board is now coming into this PCB, and then from this PCB it goes through here, which is where it connects to the screen. I do it slightly differently to what the install notes show you, because I've disconnected or taken the CD changer out of the case, so that I can connect that ribbon cable on its own. And then you need to drill a small hole just in the back of this case, put a grommet in there, and then that's how you can run the wires out from the CD unit. The instructions say that you can undo this port and leave this free hanging, which I don't particularly like to do. So I leave that one as it is and just put another little hole in the back of the case with a grommet. And then that's your CarPlay unit, and it's back in the car. These are the antennas for the Wi-Fi and the Bluetooth. They just need to get routed out of that new hole as well. And then there's some little plugs on the new circuit board that the power and USB and whatnot come out of as well. And then it's back in the car, all done, and you've got CarPlay in an original head unit in a Porsche 991.1. Like I say, this can be done in a 997 Gen 2. You can do it in a 991 Gen 2 as well, if you want wireless CarPlay or if you want Android Auto. Otherwise, most of those cars, you've got CarPlay by just plugging a USB into the armrest in the car. Shazam, and just like that, it's back together. We've now got the new part of the loom just coming out of the CD casing there. That gives you camera inputs if you want front and rear camera. We're not going to use those or the auxiliary input because everything's done via the Bluetooth of the head unit, which I'll talk about in a minute, and you've got a USB for upgrade or if you want to charge your phone. But again, I don't generally use that because it's quite a low power. You've then just got this little piggyback quad lock connector. You need to remember to change the most fibre optic that's normally in the OEM one that goes straight into the back of the head unit, which will then go into here. So we just need to take that most fibre optic out of there and put it into here, otherwise your sound won't work if you've got Bose. That's going to go back in the car. Went not too bad really, and yeah, I'll show you how it works quickly. And that's it, back in the car, all turned on and happily working nicely. So you press and hold this little back arrow, and that switches between the old Porsche system and the new CarPlay module that's inside the head unit. If you were using CarPlay when you turned the car off, and then when you turn the car back on again, it will automatically come straight back into CarPlay. So it feels like it's part of the OEM system. It's really nice how it works. It's touchscreen, it's nice and responsive, and the graphics are much better on this than they are on the 997, like I say. So it works brilliantly. It brings the car into the 21st century. The way that I prefer to use it, and the reason I use these integrated automotive units, is that the audio is still going from the phone to the OEM Porsche head unit. So as long as your Porsche has got Bluetooth audio already, which a lot of them of this age have, I prefer to keep the audio going from the phone straight to the OEM head unit. And also for the hands-free calling, it still goes from the phone to the OEM head unit, and then you use your built-in microphone that's often up here somewhere. I prefer that because you know that it's as good a quality as it can be, as good as these aftermarket CarPlay units have got. And although they can handle audio, I still prefer it from an audiophile point of view that it's going straight to a head unit rather than going onto a potentially cheaper digital to audio converter, and then being routed into the head unit that way. So that's why I like these. You can switch it. It's a setting that's hidden in the factory menu. You can change it so that the audio goes to the CarPlay unit instead, and then that's routed into the factory head unit. I prefer the way it works as well, because on other systems I've used where you're connected to the CarPlay, when you get a phone call and answer it, sometimes it gets a bit confused as to whether the phone audio wants to be routed to the CarPlay or to the original head unit. This way of doing it, it's always going to the car head unit. So whether you press answer on the actual head unit, whether you press answer on the phone, or if you've got steering wheel buttons, if you press answer on that, it's always going to be going through to the car. So that's the CarPlay units that we can install. Like I say, 997 Gen 2s, 991 Gen 1, they're the most kind of useful. Obviously you can do them in Cayennes and Macans as well, so I'm just talking about 911s at this point, but any kind of Porsche of that era really that's got a PCM3.1 or PCM3 head unit. You can do it on the later Gen 2 991s if you want wireless and if you want Android Auto. That's it. Thanks for watching. I'm going to take a few still shots just for Instagram, and we'll see you in the next video.